Hello and welcome to today's video on Windchill and workspaces. Now, before I get into this video, I just want to say if you don't take anything else from this video, please will you make sure you empty your workspace every day at least once, because, well, we'll get into the because of in the video, but it's very important that you empty your workspace every day, and that way we will reduce problems. Now, getting into the crux of this, what is Windchill and what is the workspace? Now, easiest way to think of it sometimes is think of Windchill as a vault, and take our shaft drawing that'll live in the vault once it's created. And if we want to modify it, we want to change a keyway, add a keyway, change the diameter. We'll copy that into our workspace, and that will also copy the file onto our PC. We can then view that in Creo. We can have a look at that and so on. Now, there's another part here, and that is checking things out. Now, if we want to modify something, we have to check it out. Let's say we want to add the keyway. We have to check it out, and we have to add it to our workspace so we can modify it. Now, what does checking out mean? Checking out means that we essentially leave a placeholder in Windchill that stops anybody else taking it from Windchill. So we can then modify it in our workspace. We can then choose to upload it back to Windchill, and when we upload it, we don't replace what's in Windchill. We just lay our piece of paper on the top of the stack, and then our next friend over here. Then our friend over here can grab the item because we don't need it anymore, so he's got it now. So that's how that works. Like, the checkout locks it to one user at a time, so either he can have it or we can have it. So now that sounds really great and really simple and foolproof. The problem is that, as I said, you can pull things into your workspace without modifying them. So you can have a copy in this person's drive, and a copy in this one. And now this one's checked out and modified, as we said. We've done it all well and right. That's fantastic. But this person has got a copy just sitting around in their workspace they're using in a GA because they haven't cleared their workspace recently and so on. So this means that when they do a drawing, when they do their GA, they're say using version 2, this version is version 4, you can see that their drawing is going to move wrong. And that could cause modelling problems, that could cause other parts in their assembly to be wrong, that could cause things to fail and fall down. So if they are emptying their workspace regularly, and also slightly being aware of if anyone else is working on the parts that they are too, like if you're working on a assembly together, somebody's modifying the pump, somebody's sorting the engine and so on, making sure you're all kind of aware of that, but also critically checking in your work, clearing your workspace every day, then you won't get any problems. Now, if we just have a little look at that in Creo, I've pulled a few objects into my workspace just for an illustration. In this case, I pulled the drawing in because I wanted to modify the drawing, and to pull the drawing into my workspace, I had to but Creo pulls in these other objects because they are related to it, but you can see that they're not checked out. These two I can't check out, but I'm just going to go ahead. That obviously means the checkout button, that's the check-in button. Now, I can clear my workspace by simply pressing the minus button there. Let me show that again. If I can click individual objects and take them out of my workspace. So let's say I just want to take the drawing out, but I want to keep the other objects. So I can now take the drawing out, and that's telling me it's going to delete it from my computer. That's fine. So you can see I just have these objects. Now, if I take one of these and I check it out, this will obviously check it out. So that's now that object, that sign there means it's checked out by me. If you see that with a head on it, it means it's checked out by somebody else, and that means you can't modify it. And be wary that it might change. So if we then just click this button here, we'll be able to go in. If I now edit something about this, let's say it's going to cause chaos, but if I just delete that and then save, close, have a little look at my workspace, you can now see that this is modified. you see that little plus? That means it's modified locally. So when you're clearing your workspace, be very careful about clicking that and then pressing remove object, because any modifications you've made locally will be removed. Equally, if you've done what I did and you've made a change and you're just messing about, you're measuring something or you don't want to keep them, then just hit that button with that selected. This is warning triangle telling you you're going to lose your modifications, but that's okay, we are content. So we'll take that out, and that's saying we're going to delete the data from there, so it's gone. So we've got rid of that cast item. Now we can review these. Do we want to take these out of workspace? Yes, we also want to take those out. They're unmodified, that's all fine. Now the last symbol in your workspace that I want to make you aware of is when you make a new item. It's got a specific symbol, and if we just have a look, obviously I've just given it a naff name, but you'd have to give it a proper name. But this star, it means that it doesn't exist in Windchill. So it only exists in your workspace. So when you come to check an object with a star in, you will not only need to make sure it's named properly, you'll need to make sure its location is set, and so on. So I think we've covered the basics of what is a workspace. It is a local copy of what is in the vault. So this would be a local copy of what's in the vault. What is a checkout? A checkout is when you leave a placeholder in Windchill that blocks anybody else from modifying it. That doesn't mean that they can't download a copy of it onto their computer though. So that we have to clear our workspaces every day, put it all in, because that way, if we're all doing that, then we're never going to get, Rev 2 over here and Rev 4 over here, or even different versions, because every day we'll be bringing the data in, so we'll kind of be refreshing every day. If we don't do that, we can easily have problems. So that's quite important. That is all I believe we have to cover for today, so thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have learned something.